So, yeah, getting this thing started, would you be able to give us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Well, who I am is I am. And what I do, I am focusing right now on creating these life force energy healing tools that we call tensor rings, and also other devices that transmute negative to positive. Um, I went to school for holistic health when I was younger, and I was looking for the modality which I was going to offer to the community. And I was gifted one of these rings, and then I was taught about this fellow named Slim Sperling, who was basically on YouTube at the time, an older fellow, and he was talking about how there was an energy field within these rings. And he was telling us how they were related to the pyramids and the
Mm,
sacred cubit, and how based on the length of measurement we cut these two, we can create an etheric antenna to harness a very positive, harmonic, vital life force energy. That's what I do. I also have been uh, teaching about the law of one, or the law of love, and basically how we realize who we are. Um, I had a spiritual awakening about a decade ago when I came out of addiction for a few years. I was deep into alcohol addiction and other substances, and that drove me to a place of surrendering, and then basically turning my life over to the higher power, which then has led me to now full time being a creator of this technology, and now basically abiding as the I am, and teaching teaching about really divine love. And yeah, I'm excited to share more about what exactly I'm referring to here, but that's a pretty general description of who I
awesome.
am.
Beautiful, man. So, yeah, let's get right into it then. What do you teach? How do you even begin to teach about this divine love and awakening, spirituality, whatever you want to call it? What are you teaching exactly?
Well, I'm teaching that we are all that, and that there isn't any doing that has to be done to realize who you are. The self is it's shining by itself, and it is the great silence. It is the space, the field, and we are all that. We are all of this source, and in a sense, I'm teaching about it's really more of a pointing, and the way that I teach, I feel that the transmission itself is enough to in a sense, get whoever's listening to inquire uh, to who they are, and who is the one that is aware, who is the one that is watching this video right now. And it's interesting. I noticed that you had RJ Spina on the podcast, and RJ is one of my greatest teachers right now. At least I've tapped into him for the past year, and I've been listening to RJ daily. And what I'm teaching is exactly what he's teaching, which is really self-realization, and to realize that you are the self. There's like you are prior to thinking, you are prior to the body mind, and that's that. It's that simple. There's
That's it.
That's it. I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing far out, and that's the cosmic giggle. That's the joke. It is the greatest joke, but it's just that simple. And then obviously there's an infinite amount of ways that we can teach from that position. But I always like to, throughout the teachings, remind us that, really, like, this is just entertainment. Um, right, it's just entertainment. It's just, I just read an Aurobindo quote that was like, God is a child playing with itself in an eternal game. Like
Uh-huh.
that is what is going on. The innocence of that childlike nature, the purity and the innocence and the fun. Like, we should be having fun all the time. Like, really, our natural state is this eternal celebration, this joy for existence. And then we're just creating. We're constantly creating, and it's like, what then are you creating based on two things, right? Your thought and your feeling, your electromagnetic signature. What are you broadcasting out into the field that will then magnetically return to you? And that's really what we're always creating, something within our imagination. But the point is to not get caught in your creations. So there's
Uh-huh.
there's my there's Maya and there's Leela. Maya and Leela are the same things, but we call Maya the illusion and Leela's the play. But they're the exact same things. But are you like, oh, this is a great illusion, like we're suffering here? And or is it the Leela? Is it just the divine play that you're just a part of? So I feel that it's interesting because they're the same thing, but it's the way that we are with that energy, and how you're choosing to see life.
Yeah. It's all perspective. Yeah. I like that though. I never heard it put that way that Leela and Maya are the same thing. I've heard it put, Samsara and Nirvana are the same thing, but
Mm.
it's just another way to look at it. You're either getting lost in distortion or you're playing with it. And in that way, once you do realize it is a play, then it's not distortion anymore and it's not illusion, you know? What did you say? It is a eternal celebration. That's good. Eternal celebration of creation. Celebration and creation simultaneously. They're one and one in some way.
Absolutely.
Now, do you feel that in the creativity that comes forth from you, there is some sort of wavelength, like something that you're creating for, creating toward? Are you creating alongside some other force? Like, what is being created through you?
Well, I realize that there's only one reason for me to be here, and at this time, in this time space right now, and that is to serve creation in good ways. Uh, so I I realize that the earth right now, what we call the earth, is in a little bit of trouble. It appears that it's
A
in a
little bit.
little bit of trouble, but it's just the turning of the tide, right? As within,
Mm-hmm.
so without. The chaotic nature of shadow work is the arising of the unconscious into the light, right? Like Carl Jung, bring in the unconscious into the light. That is the individuation process or the self realization process. So, what I've realized is that the suffering is grace. Ram Dass
Mm-hmm.
says suffering is grace. And I know that to be a fact, because the consuming flame of the I am is it is literally burning away all of what we're not. And that is happening inside of us through this process of awakening. But it's already, like, the thing is, when I say it's entertainment, it's because it's already done. Like, we've already won the victory because awareness itself, the I am, is the eternal victory. So, in a sense, you're always just watching the ascension, but there's no body to ascend because the body mind it's not real. There's only one reality. There's only one power. There's only one intelligence. There's only one perfection. There's only one love. And so that is why it's entertaining, because the I am is seemingly the path, but it's already the goal. So I've heard Dr. David R. Hawkins say, like, when you see the ego for what it really is, it's the end of it, like, it's the beginning of the end of its seeming reign over your reality. But just to cycle it back is that I create because I have a genuine desire to transmit these transmit this passionate energy of the fact that you're already awake. And that's really it. That's why I am here. And whenever I'm in this creative energy, which is basically all the time, I just have this natural drive to, like, put the camera on. I bought this whiteboard recently, and the whiteboard is really helping me to teach because it's giving me something that I can write and then kind of return to throughout the teaching. But yeah, that's ultimately what I really want to do. This technology is, in a sense, secondary to my real message, which is that, like, my life is my message, and whoever knows me will see the, I guess, the devotion to divine love, which is, as we talked about, just being as you are. But in order to get to the realization that you are that's a journey. That's like, that takes a lot of practice, so to speak, like, it takes so much devotion. And the past decade of my life has been pure devotion. And now I'm just getting to this stage where I feel comfortable enough, confident enough to teach, because I feel like I really know what the frequency that I'm resonating at when I speak from this place. I feel like it's being delivered correctly, and I don't even have to edit my videos or anything. Like, I don't go back and, like, see what I said, or, like, I just release it because I know where I was speaking from. I'm speaking from the heart. And when you know who you are, when you speak from that place, that is where the maximum amount of potential service can be presented to our brothers and sisters who are potentially looking for the answer, which is us pointing them back into the fact that the master within is the eternal answer. And it just, every day is new, right? Every moment's fresh, and each now moment we can share it another way. We can, refer to
Yeah.
another quote, refer to another teacher, and it's just that. And but what I do lastly feel is, I know that beings are positively affected by this energy, whether they like it or not, or believe it or not, or resist the truth. Is that I'm here to tell the truth, and I'm here to tell my brothers and my sisters that you are already free. You really don't have to do anything. And how much can you accept that? Like Nisargadatta Maharaj, he's like, you have the bravery to accept that you're already free. And that is the act of courage. is to like fully like just let the ego mind go and fully surrender into this divine intelligence that just it's waiting to pour through. And that's where I would love to speak more on the qualifying of this energy that's pouring through us.
Amen. Well said. What do you mean by that? You want to speak on the qualifying of the energy that's pouring through us?
So, I mean, this book right here, the I Am Discourses, you know, this is the holy grail. I feel it, but it's just another way to like I first fell in love with Ramana. I have him. I'm looking at him right now, and you know that is who first told me the truth. When I read in the book "Be as You Are," Ramana told me that you are awareness, and that was the first time when I realized that I was the one looking. And I was like, that's why I love him so much, because he was the first being that told me the truth in this life. And that has now led to the studying and application of the I Am discourses, which I would say is one of the greatest texts that we have access to in this realm.
Is that Ramana as well?
Yes. Oh, this is the Ascended Master Saint Germain, which is
Oh, okay.
Ramana, right? Ra is the light, and people called this man Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi, but he was the I am, which is nameless. So anytime we're talking about this is just a higher consciousness, it doesn't matter who did it. Like the name is irrelevant, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, the qualifying. So right now, if we just pull back and abide in this silent space, there's only presence. There's only consciousness. But there's this mind that arises within our consciousness. And that thought is then qualifying because, as we talked about earlier, we are creating within our thought and within our feeling. So, and this is all what Dr. Joe Dispenza is teaching as well. Like, because it is the law of creation, is that there, because it's just the unmanifest that's being itself in all now moments. And we, as the mind, which is the beginning of the manifestation, because everything begins in thought, then we're qualifying this consciousness, this 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 field. We're tuning into different frequencies, different streams of thought, and then based on what we're putting our attention on, we're qualifying it with that energy. And it's like if I have if I have a thought, say I am the presence of divine love, then I've just qualified this I amness with that statement, I am. And now we know about cymatics, we know about how vibrations are affecting the etheric field around us, how water is responding to our thoughts, and we're literally telepathically communicating with everything around us. And because we are powerful beings, we are given the gift of being a creator, then we are literally affecting the field around us. And that's what I mean by qualifying, is that it's like if I just say I am, then I'm setting that into motion where like just the statement I am is enough. You don't have to couple it with like you don't have to say I am this and that. It could just be I am, and that's enough to realize the freedom, because what we're really trying to do is as much as we can is pay attention to the the beingness that is underlying, because that is freedom itself. And that's what everybody really desires, I feel, in my heart. And um that's really it. You know, you're creating within these two principles of thought and feeling. And whatever you're thinking, your electrical signal, whatever you're feeling, your magnetic signature, those in combination are then putting out a signal into the field that is basically responding to your thought and your feeling. And that's why when we go into higher realms and higher densities or frequencies, a lot of things are instantly responsive to thought. But because we're in a denser environment, it takes it may take some seeming time to to respond to what we're creating. But I have an inkling that in higher places, so to speak, it's immediate response to our thought. Like we can think an object into creation. Like this pyramid. Like if I thought about bringing this in, like it took me action. Like I had to take action to create this. I had to get the metal, mix it in the resin, put the crystal, like it I had to then do it. But that's the way that this environment um is set up, is that then we take an action, but potentially it's not like that everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like an instant thought. And you know what? As I say in my teachings, I have no clue. Like I'm just sharing. I'm just exploring consciousness like a little child. I could be completely wrong about everything I just said. And whether you really, nobody has to believe me, and I don't want anybody to. I don't want anybody to take what I'm saying literally, because I don't know, I'm just exploring myself, you know? And that's that,
Well,
you
I think it
know?
was well said.
Thank you.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah, I mean, where do we go from here? Moral of the story is we are all creators, or we are all the creator, and we can create whatever we want. We can qualify whatever we want. The only reason I think people don't believe in the law of manifestation or that you are the creator is because, as you just described, it takes time between the qualification and what becomes qualified, you could say. You know, the imagination to fruition. It takes time in this seemingly slow moving reality. But it is the case. Once you do fully realize that you have that creator endowed within you, that um it's the truth of all truths, you can't help but see creation in everything, every moment. We're all creating. That's the thing. Whether you believe it or not, you're always creating. So it's like, um it may seem hard to believe for one that doesn't see it, but for one that sees it within themselves, one that doesn't just take our word for it, one that like truly believes, not even just believes, one that knows within themselves, it's like, yeah, of course. Everything that you're saying, I'm like, okay, yep, heard this 100 times. I know, I feel it.
Right?
So that's the thing, is like all of this stuff. I like to say every podcast I do, every teaching, whatever it is just a reminder for somebody to go within themselves to realize this themselves. And if it's not, if there's somebody out there saying you need me to get the secret powers, the secret sauce, then run the other way, man, because all of this is within you. The sage is within you. You are the sage. We are all the sage. You just have to realize it. And once you realize it, you don't go back. That's the thing too. And it all becomes obvious. Yeah, man. Um, it's a good point. Also, another good point that you brought up was how the name Ramana or Saint Germain or Jesus or Buddha or Gary or Stephen or whoever the listener is, those are all just labels. Those are all just another qualifier. But
Mm.
there is a similarity to, I feel, the realized beings in the qualification. Do you know what I'm getting at? Like, even though the form changes, it's still the same truth. Like, there's still something being conveyed that transcends the form. And that's the beauty of it. Is like, once you do realize the creatorship, there's something that I feel flows through the form that transcends it, from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. And I call that the Dharma. I don't call that the Dharma. That's what the Dharma is. That's what everybody calls the Dharma. It's this something that you like, you become. You become the Dharma. Once, the more you realize your creatorship, your godhood, the Dharma, the more it's like quantum, the more you become that. you know? It's very magical in that way. And then you realize the form doesn't matter. It's all what's being transmitted all through the form. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say. That's just what's coming through at this point. It's just like, uh you have to realize it yourself. I guess moral of the story is what I'm trying to say here. You have to realize this yourself, and then you can dress it up however you want. You can use whatever label, whatever language, whatever form, whatever concept you want to use. But at the end of the day, you just have to realize this yourself and bring it into your own being in order to believe it, in order to flourish. I think that also my original question was, what are we creating, right? Well, maybe you can attest to this. I believe we're creating, just as you said, a reality that's closer to love. Naturally, we're just um, helping others that aren't really the others see the divine love that they are, and essentially so that others can see the entertainment, so that we can have fun together. Essentially, it's almost like we're all watching the movie. I'm entertained, but what's better than watching a movie by yourself with somebody that you love? So it's like we're trying to, not even trying, right? We are bringing people along. Like, once you do form some kind of cohesion with the Dharma, as I said before, it's like inevitably you resonate with the wavelength of bringing people along with you to the play. you know that's just how I feel. It's like, come on, guys, come on, can you see through it? Come on. And it's not like forcibly, it's not evangelical, it's just natural. I think just that's what wants to be created. It's like the bodhisattva ideal. It's bringing others along. It's like, come on. But that comes through, I feel, later on. Once you kind of work through your inner stuff, once you work through the struggle, after you get the awakening glimpse, you do the work per se, I think inevitably we all become the bodhisattva. And I'm not trying to sound like egotistical. That may sound like, oh, there goes Gary calling himself the bodhisattva, the one that's supposed to, he's Neo in the Matrix. No, we're all Neo in the Matrix. That's the thing. We're
Yeah,
all the one. So it's not me. It's like all of us. It's like it's a collective. We're all in this together, type of thing. Um, yeah. Do you feel like that's a part of this wavelength we're speaking on? This realization is like the bodhisattva ideal, bringing everybody along to this wavelength. It's not just about you anymore. It's about us, type of thing.
absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's service, right? It's
That's it.
creation.
That's the word.
Creation is service. We're all serving something, right? Whether you're working at the ice cream shop, or you're making life force energy technology, or you're making tinctures, or you're a chef, you're serving creation. And what would life be by ourselves? It would be horrible. Like, if I was just here sitting alone for eternity, I would be really pissed off. I would, you know what I mean?
That's
Like,
why we're here.
yeah,
That's why we did this thing. The one became the many, because it was like, oh man,
it
kind of
got,
sucks.
yeah, exactly. It
A
it
little
was
lonely.
just being, and it's like it needed to express it, and then that's it. Apparently, right? To learn, teach, learn. In the Law of One, talks about teach learning. Like, that's what Raws came to do, and yeah, I mean, it's a great text, the Law of One. I don't really study much like, I'm not reading much anymore. I
Yeah.
gave away all of my spiritual books. like I had the whole bookshelf. I had all of Ram Dass's books. I was reading the Bhagavad Gita and studying, the Bible and the Upanishads and reading all of it. And I like at some point I got it. And then
Yeah. Yep. I
you
feel
actually
that.
don't need the books. Now if I would refer to a book, it would be then to teach, because that's
Mm.
what, and teaching is part of learning as well. Like you and I are simultaneously the master and the student, but we're transcending duality because we know, brother Gary, I know that I'm speaking to myself, I and I. And in that oneness, there is no master student. I know that
Yeah.
the more presence I share with Gary, the more that you may teach me something that or you may remind me of something that I know inside, and maybe I'll teach you that, but ultimately we're the same, and that will never change. um
That's it.
and that's it. Yeah.
That's it. As you said, use the same word as teach and remind. That's all it is. That's all I see every valid teaching is just a reminder, especially once you, as you said, get it. Once you get it per se, it's like, oh, of course, I forgot again. But it really is. Every pure teaching, at least, every pure teaching, it's just a remembrance. It's just a reminder for you. You go back to you, and then you go, oh, of course. Got lost again. Lost in the sauce.
mm.
You
Something
know?
interesting, brother, is, yeah, I feel to let every being be what they want to be, right? Like I was contemplating the other day my father, and there's this, like, we get this false, oh, I gotta wake people up, I'm awake now and everybody's sleeping, the sheep are sleeping,
Yeah.
like I'm here on a mission to wake people up. That also I don't fully resonate with. I feel that the
Uh,
most pure expression of this transmission is silence, and that's ultimately what, the that is what is really teaching,
mm,
um rather than feeling that I gotta, like, my dad, like, what if he came to be Neil, right? Like, what if my dad, like, who am I to say that this man's got to wake up, or this
yeah.
person, like, that, who am I to say their soul is on their soul's journey? So I don't have to wake anybody up. But
Mm-hmm.
paradoxically, I'm here writing on the whiteboard, you are awake, and once again, that's part of the joke. And
Yep. Oh, that's it.
this is all hilarious. Like when you actually see, like, and that's where the seriousness of
Mm,
suffering becomes that the fun, the play. Because this is all, yeah, it's like, what today am I going to put an amethyst crystal or a lapis lazuli? These are some of my greatest thoughts throughout the day. Like, it, but it's, or what mica powder am I gonna put? It's not none of this is really serious, and but beings around you, if they want to come into this frequency, then we go together. And this is where I
that's it.
feel New Earth, the idea of a new earth is that the man and the woman get together in this acknowledgement that we are already that, and then create from that position, from that place. And that's where we can start this new earth that we're all talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You touched upon a lot of good points there. I'm trying to think where we could go. I have like bullet points in my head. That's how I do these. I have a notebook in my head. So I'm
Amazing.
trying to think where we go now. Well, first thing you said was if somebody wants to, and I think that's the big difference. When one feels the bodhisattva ideal within themselves, that essence of service, it's not like service out of like, you shaking the person, you need to wake up. Can't you see it? It's up to them. It's like an offering. You're
Mm,
just sort of throwing it out there. And that's the big difference between being evangelical, knocking on somebody's door, and being yourself, like just truly being pure and integrated in this realization. Is it's just throwing it out there. That's how I feel, at least. I'm just like, hey, you don't have to. You're cool being you. Be you. Seriously, be you. And the more you try to change somebody, actually, the more you try to wake somebody up, the more that hurts them, actually. The more that causes suffering for yourself and the other person. So it doesn't
absolutely.
work like that. You can't force it. You can't force it. And I only know that from experience because I think a lot of us can attest, once you kind of see this way, you wish others could see this way as well, because it helps, right? It's actually well intentioned. It's not like I want others to see like I see because of some egotistical thing, it's really just because you do want to help, but it's not that easy, man. You can't just say, I don't know, some kind of buzzword. You can't just say you are it. You can't just say wake up
Right.
and have it be that easy. That's
Mm.
actually the good news. That's the good news, because in that regard, that means nobody really has power over you, right? Like, you truly have the power. You're the arbiter of your own power. No one can wake you up, but also on the other side of the coin, no one can put you to sleep. It's all up to you at the end of the day. So that's the first point. That's the first bullet point. The second one that you finished off on is between man and woman. It said something like between man and woman having this realization and then raising a family together. I
Hmm.
really think that's how we build this new earth, because let's be honest, there's a lot of distortion, and us doing this podcast right now probably isn't going to wake up the world. The billions of people, probably not going to be that easy. But how we do it is gradually. I think it's through the generations, and you raise your children right, so that the stuff, the work, the craziness that we had to go through in order to see how we see now and have this conversation, our children don't have to go through it. You raise them pure. You don't put them through nobody training. I'm sorry, somebody training, as Ram Dass says. You don't put
Yeah.
them through somebody training as much as you can. Obviously, culture in the world will always try to reinforce the somebodyness. But I think as a parent, you don't try to, I don't know, I'm not a parent, so I'm not going to talk on that too much. But as a parent, you don't try to like have them be a certain way. You just let the child be however they were incarnated to be. And I'll just keep it at that. You don't try to put too many veils or facades over the identity of the child. And that's how we change the world. Truly, like in a realistic sense, I think that's how we bring about this new sense of consciousness. You just raise your kids right, man. Gonna take a little bit of time, obviously, but there's no other way. Um, yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Do you have any other points that you want to bounce off of on
Yeah,
that note?
I completely agree. And one little thing that I'll share is, um, as a parent or as any being, um, to know that the I am is the one doer, the one in charge of everything. So, if you
Yeah,
have a child, it's not your child. It's ours. We're all children
yeah,
of God, and
yeah,
that is sort of the issue, is the identification, which I teach a lot about with anything. Because I did a little teaching the other day. Like, think about, write down the word car, the word wife, the word chocolate bar or jewelry or children, and then so the car and the chocolate, those are just being the car and the chocolate bar and the wife and the child. But
mm,
when you put the word my in front of it, my wife, my car, my chocolate bar, you've just then identified with what belongs to God, and you've claimed it as your own, and now
yeah,
you're screwed. Like, now you've messed everything up because
mm,
of that identification. And you can do that with anything in life. Um and it's like, yeah, what was that saying from Jesus? Lay not your treasures where moth and dust corrupt. There's only one treasure, And that is consciousness, that is spirit. You're like, this house I'm in right now, this isn't my house. This is
Yeah.
not my house. This is a house that
Yeah.
I am in right now. I'm living in, but other people have lived before and called it their house, and somebody after will call it their house. But it's just a house. So same thing
Mm-hmm.
with the children. It's so important to give that, when like, because you're actually tuned in with the natural law, that this child is a child of God, and that that same presence that is beating your heart is beating the child's heart. And when
Mm.
you give all your power. And a big part of this book is I do this as much as I can during the day. I will stand up and call forth the presence to take me over, because that is where I'm at in my journey. Is like, I don't see any other teaching that's more important than full surrender, which is like, I present, please come in. And if I had a child, it would be the exact same thing. I would call
Yeah.
forth that presence to act in my child's life, knowing that that is what is taking care of the child. Yes, I might be the guardian for a while, for the few years that I got to change the diaper and stuff like that, but I'm going to at some point give it all back to God. And that's what is missing a lot. And it's wild. I mean, we're in a wild time. I know you can probably feel it too, brother. Is This isn't normal. Like, what is going on right now here? Like, you can, if you tune into it, like, oh, there's there's a lot of distortion that is it's not going to last for long. This can't last. Like, the nature of, it's like, it's like if you lie to your partner and you're cheating on somebody else, like, you can't hide it for that long. Like,
Yep.
you're gonna get caught. And same thing with what's going on in this outer entertainment. Is like, you're gonna have to catch the criminals soon and call an end to these systems, or
Yep.
else we're all going down with. And it's like, I don't know. I don't really like talking about this world too much, and that's why I'm always just pointing us back home, because that's
Mm-hmm.
always changing, and we never know what's going on. But just on that topic, is that, in these times when we can all feel it, you might deny it. I'm not saying there's going to be some apocalyptical event. I am never going to claim anything like that, because I I hope there isn't. I hope that things go smoothly as possible, with the least amount of chaos and things like that. But you can feel that things got to change, right? And as you're saying, brother, it's like, we got to change ourselves, because the greatest service that you can render the world is your own self realization. And if you
Yep.
dissolve the world within yourself, then you will be in full alignment with the divine will, and you will be an embodiment of the Christ, and you will walk around and just beaming. It doesn't matter what you're doing, but it's your beingness that's flowing through and bringing the light into this world. And that is what we're here for.
Damn. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Good stuff. Yeah, that's good. Very powerful what you just said. Sometimes I just got to take a breath, and I got to take a breath on that one. Mm. Yeah, the jig is up. Something's going on, and what's going on is all of the karma coming to surface. All of that distortion that's built up thousands of years. It's coming to a head at this point.
Absolutely.
Why? Why? How can we explain like this point that we're living in? Why is this one so much more important than, say, I don't know, 10 lifetimes ago? I don't know. I don't think my mind is capable to answer that. But essentially, if you're tapped into yourself, you know that something's going on. There's a big change going on. And really, honestly, in a practical sense, I think it's just because of the internet, right? I think the internet is allowing us to establish these communications and communities with each other, to trade ideas, to have these dialogues, to come to a greater understanding of who we are. Before the internet, you had to be literally in physical proximity to your teachers. You know, you had to make sure you were born in the right area where the Dharma was. There was
Mm,
just so much confinement. It was very tough to be um, exposed to the Dharma, or the truth, you could say, if you had the wrong incarnation. So now it's like, it's all out in the open. Those books that you listed, the words of Ramana, Saint Germain, you can have them at an instant in your pocket.
yeah,
Like, that's truly miraculous.
truly.
We take it for granted, but the fact that we have all of these saints and sages of the past at our fingertips, at an instant in our pocket, in a practical sense, I think that's what's going on. It's just the freedom of information.
Mm,
And that's kind of like open Pandora's box. The genie's out the bottle now.
absolutely.
There's no going back. Think about it. People couldn't even read the Bible back in the day. It was only a select amount of people, the clergy, that knew how to read Latin. And those are the ones that conveyed the information that was in the Bible to the people. That was probably wrong. They probably didn't even convey it right. So just, there's hundreds of instances probably like that, where this information was just kept in a very secure, very like secret way. You know, think of secret societies and things of that nature. This information, this knowledge, the pointers to you to return to you just simply weren't available until the internet came along. So that's what's going on. Is literally what we're doing right now as we speak. That's what's going on. If we did this hypothetically 100 years ago, 200 years ago, we'd both be killed. That's the thing too, is your life would be in danger.
Mm,
Not only did you not have access to it, if you somehow got access to it,
right.
you'd probably be killed.
Right.
Isn't that wild?
Wild.
So that's what's going on, man. I mean, you could talk about the new energies coming in, the return of the Christ, yada, yada. Who knows? Who knows? But in a practical sense, it's just the freedom of information.
Mm,
And hallelujah to that, right? Hallelujah to the times that we're in that regard. Yeah.
yeah, and lastly on that note is the it actually says at the beginning of the discourse is like in this period of world crisis, like this information is given to you to, in a sense, like save your soul, like
That's it.
for
Yeah.
salvation. Like
What year
people,
was that written, if you don't mind me asking? Do you know?
this was channeled in the 1930s.
Wow.
The
So,
Discord, yeah, and this says at the intro, like in this period of world crisis, like the masters have come to like save
mm-hmm.
you, because like buckle up type thing, like
And that was before World War II.
yeah, exactly. And then you're gifted these teachings, and it's literally like we have Jesus right beside us, and that's where we're at. But when we understand cycles of time and everything, uh it all makes sense. um but yeah, it's really about coming into community and awakening and starting to build community, like you and I right here, just
Yeah.
connecting our communities. Now the Moonas Magica community will know about you, and now your community will know about me, and then we just
Exactly.
connect all the nodes and we light up the grid. And then next thing you
Yeah.
know, New Earth is now, and we're all just dancing around the fire again, as if nothing even happened.
Yeah. Right. That's a good point. Yeah, I like to see what I do as establishing some sort of mycelial network
Mm,
for the awakening for Earth. And all of the people that I speak to are indirectly related to each other in some way, whether you like it or not. Like, you are related in the network to RJ Spina now because you're on my show.
absolutely.
So that is essentially That's the community that we built. And it's not even like you don't even have to come on my show. It's like not even about that. It's about the wavelength we're speaking on, that we find the connection. It's about the Dharma, as we spoke. You don't even have to like do anything online. You could just be a listener, and that's enough. You're in the community, right? That's the thing, is you don't have to do anything grandiose. You don't have to write a book, do a podcast. You don't have to really make anything physical. You could just be in your day to day. It could be literally with your children, as we said before, with your family. You're creating this community, this loving spirit, in how you conduct yourself in the human condition. It's really that simple, actually. I would recommend to actually not overthink it, and don't think you have to create anything.
Mm,
You don't have to do what I do. If you feel called for it, go for it. But I would say if you're not called for it, don't force it.
truly.
You don't have to. Keep it simple, man. I recognize I have some kind of unique place, and I'm kind of strange in that regard, and most people aren't. So I recommend, like, become your own bodhisattva, but don't, like, you don't have to spread the word. The word's already been spread. That's the ironic thing I can recognize too, is I'm not saying anything new. Me and you aren't saying anything new
Right.
here. It's already been said. We're just echoing the masters of the past that I believe are far greater than me. I have so much reverence for the people of the past that did it before the internet,
Mm,
that somehow transmitted this information before there was such thing as podcasts. So in that way, I think they're greater than me. I think it's fruitless also to compare, but I can't help but bow down in that regard. So yeah, point of my story, it's like, it's already all been said. Don't overcomplicate the process. Keep it simple, and that's how we create the new earth. Is really just through simplicity. Just simplicity, man. Keep it simple. Think about what a monk is. A monk is the prime example of simplicity. I'm not saying everybody has to become a monk, but you sort of become monk-like in that regard. Very simple in how we and just how we live, how we create. It's very simplified. We are our own worst enemy in this time. We're the ones that create the so much distortion and confusion, right? And that's a tough pill to swallow, but once you swallow it, you realize how to change it. That you've been doing this wrong the whole time. you know, you've been living in somebody else's story, somebody else's very complicated story.
mm,
So once you swallow that, then you can swallow the pill of simplicity.
mm.
Yeah.
I
Right.
love
Do you
that.
find that there's like a great simplification from this wavelength, from this realization in your life? Do you feel like your life is a lot simpler than before when you were an alcoholic,
Oh, absolutely.
for instance?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the self is simple. It's the ego mind that is complex, right?
Yeah. It always
It's
wants more.
oh man, it's insane. It's insanity itself, and it's like
Yeah.
yeah, it's simple, and it actually relates to the rings. Like you twist the copper wire, you cut it to the qubit length, and then you create this very high frequency healing energy. And that's what I teach as well. Like the Moona's YouTube is tutorials on how to make these, and it's that mixed with the teachings, but it's simple. It's anybody can do it, and I'm here to just point the way, to just help guide us all back home. And that's it, brother.
That's it. We're all walking each other home.
Truly.
Wonderful stuff. I think that might be a good note to wrap this up at. Um, we could go on and on, but I think that was beautiful. A beautiful landing point.
Absolutely.
But do you have anything else that you want to say? Anything you want to get off your chest before we wrap it up?
Mm, that's it. That's the silence is the teaching.
There it is. Exactly. Truly,
Yeah,
it's all in the silence. It's all in the silence. And that is all the answers that you need. More that you could ever get from me. Just find some quiet time. again, keep it simple. Keep it simple and keep it silent. Well, yeah, man, wonderful talk. I feel very tuned in, feel alive, empowered, and I thank you for this reminder. I don't have anything else to say. I just wish you all the best, man. I can tell you're a real one, and I just feel a very some, I don't know, vibrance in your words.
Mm,
I feel like there's energy behind your words and what you're transmitting. So keep up the good work.
mm.
Seriously,
Thank you, my brother. Yeah, super, super honored, appreciative, grateful, and yeah, we'll stay in touch. I'm happy that our
for sure.
communities are now connected and leaving you all in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. Enjoy this now moment.
Thank you, brother.
Peace
Peace
and
and love
love.
to you, and peace and love to everybody that listens to this long.
You.
Goodbye, y'all.